really looks like, all right? True freedom, defined today, is defined by a surrendered will. True freedom is defined by a surrendered will. Now you might think, well, that's kind of an oxymoron, Donnie. You can't really be free if you surrender, because I don't know if you've ever been in war, but when you surrender, you kind of wave the white flag, and they take you over, and then they either kill you or imprison you, right? Yeah, but not in God's kingdom. That's war. In God's kingdom, it actually means freedom. So we've got to get this idea down. This is part of that beginning stage. We have to get away from what we think about when we hear surrender, and we've got to live in God's kingdom. Remember, Christ says, yoke yourself with me. If you yoke yourself with me, I'm going to take you to a new kingdom. He says, I invite you into a new way of viewing this idea of surrender. All right? So let's define what surrender really means. All right? Surrender is the ceasing of resistance or to yield to the power, control, or possession of another. Keep that idea of yoke together. You're no longer resisting Christ. When he tells us to do something, we're no longer resisting what Christ is calling us to do. We're yielding to the power and the direction because we want to follow Christ into his kingdom. You see, when he came down to this earth, he said, I want you to come into my kingdom. My kingdom is going to bring you freedom. If you continue to go in your direction, all you're going to do is go to bondage and slavery. And if we're truly a follower of Christ, do you know what he says about his kingdom? He says, I'm the only way into this kingdom. I'm the only way that you're ever going to experience freedom. All the other gods of this earth, all the other religions of this earth, they're false gods. They're false religions. They're going to lead you to death. If you're really a follower of Christ, he says, I'm the only way in. You want to know Yahweh? You want to know God? You want to know peace? You want to know heaven? Then you've got to follow my teachings. You've got to yoke yourself with me. If you yoke yourself with anybody other than Jesus, you're yoked to slavery and bondage of all sorts. You just have to decide which one you want to be yoked with. And then it says this, surrender is this. Surrender can mean captivity, but in God's kingdom it means freedom. Which one do you want? Do you want captivity or do you want freedom? Surrender to your flesh is captivity. Surrender to Christ is freedom. We get to surrender one to the other. But this idea of surrender, we just have to decide which one are we going to surrender to.